Divine Feminines on the divine journey. You're coming into your soul sovereignty, and I'm not sure you realise it. You know, if you do resonate with being a divine counterpart on the divine journey, also I'm feeling a lot in my heart chakra, like a lot of heat, and I think that you've been feeling this like energy in your lower chakras, right? And it's been rising, okay. Yeah, it's funny when you're on the journey. Queen of Cups, confirmation. I feel like your heart's expanding, right? But it's understanding things in a new way. When you're on the journey and you meet your person, it's so interesting because you'll notice that all the little things that you were drawn to from a very young age held such, in your environment at the time, they might not have made much sense, so you didn't actually give them that much weight, right? They were just there in your little heart, you know, these little things that made you sparkle a bit or just you liked. Then your person comes in and suddenly it makes sense. It's like there were little pieces of your person, your entire journey to this point. And then you activate each other, right? And you go through, I mean, the Kundalini awakenings that you experience. You know, I think there's a lot about kind of enhancing your awakening, you know, what's the word, you know, when you make it happen, I can't think of the word, but when you're on this journey, they're spontaneous. You have spontaneous awakenings, you really do. It's kind of like you've not prepared for it as such, even though divine has been preparing you this entire time. Divine works so closely with you, which is why the faith, even in your darkest times, because when you activate each other, there are times when you're going through such it feels dark, lonely, cold. But again, I say lonely, but there's something in you there's something almost like a fire that's just still there, right? Flickering, waiting for you to really own it, yeah? And the Three of the Swords at the bottom of the deck as well. It's a lot of grief, pain, heartbreak, because you are the emotional and energetic leader, if you will. You're the one connected on that spiritual level in order to clear through the spiritual, whereas the divine masculine will be clearing through the physical, right? For both of you both do this. So when you go through that, it's a process that you can't really explain it, but the one person you want to come back and help you understanding or whatever it is the person who has left you here. Five of Pentacles, right? I'm hearing specifically feeling empty, but I think that's just like not even touching on how it can feel, right? Sometimes it's so heavy that you can't even get out of bed, right? Obviously, if like there's something that you need to see a medical professional for, that's completely different. Like, you know, do that. So yeah, and then you go through, and this can be truly this healing, you know, it's unearthing so many shadows in you, and you already know, Seven of Swords, yeah, betrayal wounds. Truly, deception. It feels like that. Everything inside you is enhanced, right? And I feel like your cells are being enhanced. They're being kind of there's so many ascensions that you go through, and it's like you're coming to the glow, which is where you get to that beautiful glow, but it comes with the purge and purge and purge. And don't get me wrong, you know, it's like this continuous energy, but you get better at handling it. You begin to heal through the darkness and the shadows the more you pay attention. And this is the energy that I'm feeling here. Someone has been paying attention, this Divine Feminine Collective. And I just feel like you might not realize that actually where you were seeing all along since that first like activation or whatever. I feel really emotional. It's clearly something that weighs. It's closer than you think. Okay, but you're just not seeing it. Oh my God. The Empress. Hi, confirmation. It wasn't about anyone or anything else. This is what I mean by soul sovereignty. This is you. I've heard you're finding yourself. I think you have found yourself. You've transitioned. Six of Swords as well there. You've truly transitioned. I think sometimes you don't take stock, if you will, of who you were in the past and what happened, because this can be years, this healing, because that's what true healing is. And when you're on the divine journey, you're really catapulted thrown into the deep end, if you will, right? Even if you've been going through a lot of healing and purging before you meet your person, which is often the case with divine feminines, you go through a lot, you see shadow. But you're learning that, it's the truth is babies are like the closest thing we have to soul, source, ultimate divine purity, truly. Babies are not born with darkness, with shadow, or any kind of hate or whatever it is that it can manifest as, or even just, anything. That came through for a reason. So they learn this, they're taught this. That even their ego is comes up as their protection, their layers, right? You're understanding that, and you've been unraveling that. But the whole point here wasn't just about you developing unconditional love for your person. It was about you developing this for the wider existence, for the all. But the love is here as well. Okay, so it's kind of like, yes, understanding other people's decisions more, or holding space for understanding that they're on their soul journey, because every soul plays a part in whatever's happening collectively, truly. Even if it's not necessarily what you agree with, you're finding that within yourself, and you're no longer outsourcing validation, expecting someone to come and save you, maybe, if that's how you used to, maybe that came through for a reason as well. Or even, I think there's been somebody here has had a really protective layer, like self-protection, which I totally understand. But I think that there's this, it's kind of like you're recognizing your divinity. That's what it is. You are recognizing your divinity. And in doing so, you're seeing yourself so differently. Yeah, I think you're seeing yourself through the eyes of your divine masculine. Oh my God, that's amazing. And I'm talking about your divine masculine, not your wounded, not the wounded. I'm talking about when he sees you and he sees you in your light, sees you on that pedestal, you're seeing yourself like that finally. And I think that the reason that you're not actually recognizing this right now, maybe you are, part of you is, right? You're feeling it. But I think there's something about you've not really had evidence or whatever from your person, like they've not come through or whatever it is. And so you think, well, what's happening? But there's another level here, another layer where you're understanding, you're beginning to recognize that actually, or you will be soon, it was never about that. It was about you coming back to yourself and feeling that wholeness within, finding that sense of purpose, that divine mission. 7 of Cups. I think someone's thinking of you heavily. Someone being, you know who. Just as I said that. 4 of Wands, twin flame card. Some people call this a marriage card. Definitely alignment, sacred union energy. Okay, 5 of Cups. Ooh, didn't know that was a King of Pentacles and the Page of Cups. That's the person that's thinking about you. He's showing up in, he's regretful. This is energy that's coming through, okay? So the 5 of Cups has come out with the 5 of Pentacles, fully aware of how this person has left you. They're fully aware of what happened and how it took place, right? They're wanting more stability moving forward. They want to step up and be that person to bring this to you. I think there's something about communication is a real issue here. Your Mercury sign is important. Also, a teacher said to me that apparently your Mercury sign, if you don't know your birth chart, your Mercury sign is either, if it's not your sun sign, it's going to be either the sign on either end, right? So, so for example, if you're a Leo, you'll be either a Cancer Mercury or a Virgo Mercury or Mercury in Leo, right? Which is really interesting because so far from the evidence I've gathered, that does seem to be the case. So maybe that's the case for you as well. There's definitely some kind of communication here, but I think it's deeper than just your Mercury sign. I think it's deep rooted. I think that this is a problem. In the past, it might have been miscommunication. Someone's really thinking about this. Got the 4 of Cups at the bottom there as well. Yeah, I think that you're wondering what's been happening, right? You don't know. It's clearly this energy of, I think you've seen something, but nothing that gives you proof that, yeah, it's actually caused a lot of discord within you is what I'm hearing, whatever you have witnessed. Maybe this is online behaviours, maybe seeing something on social media, but this has just caused conflict, internal conflict. I also think this is somebody who's battling within. But again, you're coming into that realisation, the thing with the spiritual community, if you will, whatever. Ooh, Queen of Pentacles at the King and Queen of Pentacles, and she's come out with the 4 of Wands. Queen of Cups again. That's you. I feel like this is heavily saying stay in your heart space. Yeah, when you're staying in your heart space from a more healed space, divine, feminine, it's not being a walking mat. It's not people pleasing. It's not over giving. Yeah. So remember that when you come back into your alignment, because when they come back, it's, you know, old versions can easily kind of, you know, you might suddenly want to be like, oh, you know, hi, you know, like nothing's happened, but stay in your heart space, but centered. Yeah. There's this energy. I feel like I've just said a bunch of things. I'm not sure what I was going to say. You're going to be recognizing, you know, that with the spiritual community, sometimes there can be so much said. It's almost like that dogma and the dictations that you have actually been breaking free from, understanding that your spiritual journey is so unique to you. Again, soul sovereignty that you're coming into. It is for everybody. It's unique. It doesn't follow a plan, a diet routine, workout regime, whatever it is, right? It's what's happening within you, how you're connecting on a deeper level. Yes, those things might impact, you know, especially when you're reaching higher levels of consciousness and however that works for you. Again, you know, taking care of your health is important. That's coming in really heavy for some reason. You must have had a lot of symptoms, like, you know, that can happen. So taking care of yourself is so important. But what's working for you and what you're being called to isn't necessarily going to be what everybody's journey is and what they are called to. It's up to them to find their path. Yes, you can be a guiding light, again, from that heart space, not from a dictation space or whatever. You're understanding that more. And if that's what somebody's doing, that's their journey, that's how they're doing things, that's fine. But I'm talking about specifically you divine feminines on the divine journey. You're understanding the need for that compassion. Even when it's hard, because like we said, you've known darkness, you truly have. Oh my God, just said that the sun came out. The sun is coming out. Oh, that makes me so happy. And then the King of Wands as well. Okay. Yeah, this is that energy. It's funny that I mentioned Leo, because this is the King of Wands, and that gives, well, Sagittarius and Leo really, and obviously all fire signs, but we've got King of Pentacles as well and the Queen, so that's like Taurus energies or just earthy energies truly. I think that you're not seeing something, Eight of Swords, but it's being kept from you for a reason. Remember, divine is orchestrating all of this, which is what I mean by from a very young age, you've had signs of your person, like these little things that only you knew were, you know, maybe other people knew, but they're just these little things that call to your heart a little bit, and suddenly it makes sense, right? Even just little signs and synchronicity sequences that relate to your person that suddenly make sense when they enter, which is another reason why it can be so hurtful when it feels like you're being torn apart, right? But that separation comes from the moment you're born into the world, because like I say, babies are that source, and it's the world that teaches them how to have their ego, how to look at things, what their perspective should be, that separates them from their true soul essence, right? And this is what you've been called, coming back to, remembering what that is for you, right? Removing those conditioned programs, that subconscious system beneath, you know, the surface. It's becoming clearer to you. And, you know, in doing so, it's really opening the space for your divine masculine to really step up, because don't forget, he's doing the physical. So it's only until you have actually cleared that space more in the spiritual can he come through in the physical for you. If you're stuck in the physical, holding on to him, waiting for him to show up, then he can't. That's his realm, if you will. Obviously, in your own life, that's different. You've got to take, you know, that lead, find that inner union. That's my biggest thing, inner union. That's what I do, the work that I do. But when it comes to this connection, he needs to step forwards, right? That's what this is giving, King of Wands. And the Sun is like, I feel like there's this energy of here I am, like, yes, you know, the Sun is like so much joy. And after those Five of Pentacles, Five of Cups, someone's really recognizing where they lost this potential that they could have had. But it happened exactly the way it needed to, both of you. You needed to be the versions of yourself. You activated yourselves to recognize where there's still healing that needs to be done, so you can access that divine self. You can come together in that more healed self. Otherwise, of course, you needed lessons before actual sacred union, not wounded. Page of Pentacles. Again, there's a lot about, Chariot, Six of Cups, the stars. There's that page energy coming through. Lots of pages. Again, this could be something about the inner child, but I do also feel like there's this energy of someone wanting to approach, but kind of staying quiet, right? There's something about you, yeah. Eight of Swords here as well. I think that there's just this energy of, again, being trapped in the mind, truly. because the stability that wants to come through for that Two of Wands, that path open, and then the Ace of Cups there as well, for this new path requires clarity in the mind. And this is where I think you're currently working. And you know me, I think it's really important to recognize how actually the divine masculine truly goes through it as well, right? It can be easy not to see that, especially at the beginning. You know, you're thinking that they're just whatever's going on. You all of this is happening in your own mind, right? But when I say they go through it, you know, they go through a lot of truly physical. I'm seeing like just that tower being torn down, right? And it's like their self, their whole like being, their vessel, everything, their environment, all of it. The karmics that they could encounter, I know you might think, oh, you know, they're just having fun with karmics and whatever. Maybe they are, but whatever, the point is. See that defensiveness? I feel like that was just me like picking up on your energy. So kind of like, oh, well, whatever. No. Hold on, breathe. They need to learn those lessons through that karma. If they treated you, you wouldn't allow them to treat you the way they treated that karmic energy that came. They already had that kind of contract in soul contracts, right, to learn those lessons together, right? That was necessary for them to step up into the divine self, to meet you there, right? You weren't going to teach them. You're not their mother. You're not the therapist. You're not, you know, that. Do you know what I mean? You can be each other's guiding lights, especially when you tap into like within yourself. There's so many messages coming through for this. I feel like I keep losing my point and going on to another point. Yeah, so I think that there's just more clarity coming in, more understanding of where you both stand. Instead of blaming and shaming, I think that you kind of you will be releasing that. Yeah, look at that, Three of Cups, just as I said it. I feel like there's more of a celebration, though, Six of Wands. This energy, I think Divine Feminines might be coming into some kind of celebration to do with your abundant path, which is so important because that suggests you have been aligning with your divine purpose, in case you're wondering. You soon will be. I just want to see what else there is for this Three of Cups. I just want to confirm. Yes! Oh my gosh, new beginnings. And it is Eight of Pentacles, the Fool and the Eight of Pentacles, a new beginning to do with your work. And it's been on pause for a while. So whatever this is to do with your abundance path, something's about to enter. And it's going to really help you to feel, because let's be honest, at the beginning, when you first activate, you don't feel abundant at all. I'm hearing stripped away, right? You know, environments, money, people, everything. You're just like, and you have to go through that. You have to go through that purge because it's not in alignment with where you need to be and who you need to be, right? Every journey is unique. Every like divine journey, that every divine counterpart has a unique story, okay? So it's so important to remember. But generally, yeah, Seven of Swords. Oof. Find out some more about that. Seven of Swords. I think you haven't felt that joy in this situation for a very long time. Yeah, look at that. Nine of Wands, Seven of Pentacles. I think this is giving that divine masculine energy. And again, you know, that inner union is priority, right? But I do feel like someone's really regretful over their choices, specifically. Again, Six of Wands, success. And having to do, too many cards, having to do that kind of internal digging to understand what have they actually been watering, where have they been fueling their energy, right? Their energy has been used as fuel. Yeah, the Hermit, they're definitely in like solo mode, silent mode. You're definitely not in contact right now, is what I'm getting here, okay? And I think it's been a while, okay? Nine of Swords, Queen of Wands. I think someone's King and Queen of Wands and King and Queen of Pentacles. I think there's two things coming through here, okay? Eight of Wands. There's two things. First, someone's really stressed about this forward movement. Truly, their mind, I think they have to, I've heard fess up. I don't say that, so maybe someone says that, but I think there's some kind of confession they need to make. To do with their feelings, but also something that was hidden, something that's been hidden. I'm seeing like masks, conversations that you weren't privy to, but your name might have been mentioned in. That's come through specifically. The way they acted out of their own emptiness. Okay, don't forget when you're going through these, your activations, you also feel your person, you feel your divine masculine because you're healing through and purging through that too, right? So they're very stressed about that, but also the attraction has not died. Well, it's not going to end this connection. I mean, but my gosh, is it fiery? And do you both? This is where Six of Pentacles and the Devil. Ooh, Nine of Pentacles and the Emperor. I think this is somebody who's regaining their power, right? But I do think there's something about being really mindful. I think maybe in the past you were just led by lust or passion or whatever it was. Okay, so it's like being mindful of that now as you move forwards. I also was getting the energy of somebody who was in that more lust-based energy, especially after whatever the activation was, you know, whatever happened between you two when your initial activation. I think this is another thing that they're going to have to be honest about. I think they allowed their desires to fuel them. When I say desires, I'm talking about lower base chakra desires. Okay, lust, greed, power. We've spoken about this before. Free yourself. This is two things. Freeing yourself, regaining control back of your life. That's what they're doing. And they've massively been focusing on that as a result of this connection, really seeing things differently because you've been ascending and clearing through yours. It's helping them, right? But also, give your relationship a chance. I think you, Divine Feminine, again, you're not seeing this. You don't need to. You need to keep focusing on you. But that doesn't mean, you'll still have signs of your person. It becomes like breathing to an extent sometimes because it's just so part of your journey. But you don't need to guard yourself to that and create this like mental stress where that doesn't need to be mental stress. I think that sometimes you might be telling yourself that past story that was of the past. You're so not even there anymore. But like I said before, sometimes that past version of self can really come through. Love yourself first. Self-respect makes you more romantically attractive. That's what you've been doing. And I think this is another reason why you're evil. I don't know, there's something about you. That glow came through before. You're shining in your person's eyes. You have no idea. Because like I said, there's something going on here where there's just a lack of communication. Reconciliation. Of course. If you've met in this lifetime, this is... you're meant to, they're guiding you to that union for a reason, right? But it comes with overcoming all of the obstacles in the way. Release your ex. Okay. I think those are the energies that your person's going to need to own up to a bit more as well. But I feel like people have had control over certain parts of their life or them or whatever. I think that they're not... I'm hearing the word specifically shame. So maybe they're feeling that. I do feel that with that Nine of Wands, this particular deck as well. I think stay optimistic about your love life. Yeah, this is what I mean. I think that you're not seeing it clearly, but actually it's almost like you've detached, but not in a place of like disconnect kind of thing. You keep showing up, give your relationship a chance, but in a place of kind of just allowing the divine to come through, the divine unfold to come through. Okay, playfulness. I feel like there's this need to connect to your inner child. That's why those pages keep coming through. Remind yourself, what your inner child, what did they love to do? What brought them joy, happiness? How did they communicate, right? Keep an open mind. Yeah, keep an open mind. It's not meant to go in a specific way. With, like I said, those templates, even with this journey, there's a lot of ways people say this needs to be like this, that needs to be like that. Yes, there's some like people out there who really guide you beautifully. But again, be true to you. Because even if you follow the templates or whatever it is, how true is it to you? Because otherwise it'll just come crashing down. You have to be true to you, right? In each moment, that evolves and changes. Finances and career, again, confirmation to do something to do with your purpose. I think that's confirmation to stay in that purpose. Okay, yes, this is your soul person. Of course it is. I think there's something about you. This is soul contracted. This is literally your divine destiny, past life relationship. Yes, there's something about a past life coming up that you probably didn't realize. Maybe even throughout like the time apart, calling each other in. You're calling each other in. But just be mindful that you're not projecting past life wounds into this life. Now again, you can't always be true to children. Something to do with children in the past life. Maybe there's something there that needs to be spoken on. Okay, heart-to-heart conversations. Flirty energy. Be mindful with that flirty energy, that light-hearted energy. I will say this, through the dark times that your divine masculine has been going through, you have entity's mind. I think that he's appreciated you even more through the dark times that he's gone through. Appreciated your energy in a way that he didn't before, in a way that he might have projected that blame onto that's the journey. reconciliation did want to come out. Final card is our engagement at the bottom of the deck. So you're getting there. You're really getting there. I think you need to focus on bringing your joy back to you, not connected to your person or anyone else. You, your little you as well. Confidence is your key to success. I love that, you know, that energy again. I think Leo season important here. You know, it's coming up soon as well. Just for you and like your, you know, I feel like something about that bold energy. Cancer season, okay, you and your loved ones are safe, including this connection. And something about children. Children are, if you have children, that was just kind of confirmation. Step out of your comfort zone. Someone's going to be stepping out of their comfort zone. I just heard like the time is getting closer, and I think that's I think there's a lot to do with, yes, like this, but also you and your career as well. Prosperity lies ahead. Yeah, Taurus energy. Yeah, what do you need to release? There's still a lot of release going on, you know, it's a continuous thing, truly. But when you feel like triggered or guarded or whatever, ask yourself, pause. That's your time to pause. Even if like it happens and then you later reflect, step back, recognize your reactivity, the healing that you've been doing, the healing work, all of this, you know, it's your inner child coming through, right? And more than anything, my love, surrender to divine. You know this, you've been learning this beautifully. You're very close to achieving your goal, aren't you? Just have faith in your dreams, okay? So there's a beautiful kind of message here for divine feminines, you know, have faith in yourself, have faith in the process. Your inner union right now is really leading the way, truly. The way you're aligning with your purpose and you're releasing what you know needs to be released, okay? 8 is important, okay? So we've got fire and earth signs heavy here, okay? Sending so much love. Let me know if this message was for you.